Fate was just a lowly gatekeeper, basically the guy everyone ignored while he starved, thanks to a so-called skill that did nothing but make him hungrier. Seriously, worst character perk ever. But everything changed when he accidentally killed a thief and discovered the truth: his useless skill wasn't useless at all. It devoured souls, snatching up the abilities of anyone he killed, and for the first time ever, that gnawing hunger actually stopped. From then on, the guy everyone treated like garbage started climbing fast, his strength breaking past normal limits. Soon, he wasn't just Fate the Gatekeeper, he was Fate the Nightmare. Berserk of Gluttony kicks off under a spooky moon, where an entity is fighting hundreds of goblins and slashing through them with his sword under the moonlight. Then, the next morning, some poor schmuck is trying to outrun a goblin stampede in his carriage. Lucky for him, a group of bad-to-the-bone warriors shows up, slices the goblins into mincemeat, and saves the day. Meanwhile, our main guy, Fate, is stuck doing guard duty at the Valeric estate. He watches those same warriors stroll by, bragging about their epic goblin hunt, and you can just feel the jealousy radiating off him. The dude's starving, his belly keeps growling, and his so-called gluttony skill is basically the world's cruelest joke. It makes him hungry, but gives him zero actual power. Later that night, the city's big shots, the Holy Knights, swagger into town like they own the place. A poor guy accidentally drops a piece of fruit near Hato's foot, and suddenly it's crime of the century. Hato and his buddy Memel start smacking him around, yelling that disrespecting a holy knight is a behead-worthy offense. Real humble guys, huh? When they get home, they make a hobby out of tormenting Fate, tossing his wages on the ground and stomping on his hands when he tries to pick them up. Fate just takes it, hating himself and his so-called useless skill. But then, enter Lady Roxy. She swoops in, scolds the bullies, picks Fate up, and even wipes the blood from his eye. She encourages him, tells him to report them next time, and basically proves that not every knight is a complete jerk. Fate drags himself to a bakery to buy some bread, and even the shopkeeper is like, "Man, don't end up like all the other losers who worked for the Valerics." Depressing pep talk aside, Fate's head is spinning, with thoughts of Roxy's kindness, the Valerics' cruelty, and his own weakness. That's when he spots bandits in the distance. Being the good guy he is, he warns Roxy, and she rushes off to fight them, leaving him in charge. Fate's terrified, but determined not to mess up because she trusted him. And just when he's convincing himself to stand tall, a bandit comes charging straight at him. Instead of running, Fate grabs the flagpole and stabs the guy through the chest. And boom, the game changes. A mysterious voice announces his gluttony skill has awakened, unlocking appraisal and mind-reading powers. Suddenly, Fate's whole world cracks open. Roxy comes back, thanks him for holding the line, and even offers him a job with Househeart. Fate, finally catching a break, accepts. Later, he takes his 2 silver coins to buy a sword, but all he can afford are trash-tier blades. That's when he uses appraisal and finds one weird sword that talks back. The blade, calling itself Greed, claims they're the same kind of monster and convinces him to buy it. Armed with his new edgy best friends forever, Fate ventures into the wild, where goblins attack. He slashes them down, and every kill feeds his gluttony skill, boosting his stats instead of leveling him up. Greed explains the truth. His powers devour status and skills, which is why he'll always stay level 1. But hey, who cares? He's stronger now and no longer starving. Greed pledges loyalty, telling Fate to keep his skill secret, because it's basically outlawed by God. The two start their new partnership with a goblin ear hunting spree to earn coins. Fate's ready to splurge on food, but Greed insists he spend it on keeping the sword in shape. Just when Fate thinks things are turning around, he bumps into a shady guy dragging a little girl. She begs for help, and Fate follows them into a warehouse, where he sees the creep threatening to sell her to the knights as a slave. Fate hides, seething with anger, plotting his next move. The next day, Sister doing her usual Sunday school vibes, explaining how everyone gets skills from Lord Laplace. The kids, naturally, are like, wait! Why do the Holy Knights get the cool cheat codes while we're stuck with useless hand-me-down skills? And honestly, fair point. Before she can give a proper life isn't fair speech, another sister rushes in with bad news. Little Sahara is missing. Uh-oh. Cut to Sahara, tied up, crying, total damsel in distress mode. The goon who snatched her is about to dip when Fate sneaks in, frees her shackles, and boom, the guy's still there. Not awkward at all. The goon whips out his sword, and Fate has to think fast. With Greed whispering strategies in his head like some shady life coach, he drags Sahara between some crates, waits for his chance, and then tips the boxes over the dude. While the guy is still stunned, Fate slashes straight through his sword and chest like it's nothing. He even sticks around long enough to interrogate him. Classic anime style. And surprise? The mastermind behind the kidnapping? None other than Hato Vlarik. Fate's suspicions about those knights keep stacking up. After the fight, Fate takes Sahara out for some food. And when I say food, I mean her very first bite of meat. This girl eats like she just discovered heaven-pure wholesome energy after all that trauma. Once he drops her off safe with the sisters, Greed casually reminds him, "Oh yeah, by the way, you picked up a new skill called Sharp Edge. Strong enough to slice you in half if you're not careful. Thanks for the heart attack, sword." Fast forward and Greed's like, "Bro, your first day at House of Heart is tomorrow. Maybe buy some new clothes so you don't look like a broke adventurer?" Meanwhile, in the background, we get bar gossip about how Lord Mason's death left Lady Roxy in a tough spot, and how the Holy Knights might just steamroll her efforts to lead. Morning comes, and Fate heads over to House of Heart, only to be blown away when he sees Roxy in a dress. He's so shook, he can't even handle it. She takes him to her father's grave and introduces Fate-like family, asking him to help bring life back to the house. She even calls him Faye, which just so happens to be the same nickname his dad used. Coincidence? I think not. Fate, of course, keeps his distance since he doesn't want to accidentally eavesdrop on her thoughts again. A week goes by, and Fate's settling in, but everyone's low-key wondering why he's always hungry after lunch. Then he suddenly collapses mid-scene. Roxy sends him a sweet note telling him to rest, but Greed doesn't sugarcoat things. Fate's gluttony skill means he'll literally starve unless he feeds on souls. Oh, and his eyes glow red when he hits that danger zone. That night, Fate's out in the wild, hunting goblins like it's an all-you-can-eat buffet. He even takes on a hulking goblin with self-healing powers. Thanks to a sneak attack and some precision slashing, Fate chops it down and gains regeneration powers himself. Not bad for a late-night snack. But then comes the ultimate upgrade. He pours all his new stats into Greed, who evolves from sword to bow. And not just any bow. This thing shoots homing arrows out of thin air. Fate tests it on the goblins, and it's like playing a video game with aimbot turned on. Fate's pulling guard duty at the gate when surprised, he stops a mysterious stranger who turns out to be Roxy in full disguise mode. She's all, "Relax. It's me. I'm just sneaking out for a secret inspection." Fate's like, "My bad, didn't recognize you." And she actually invites him to tag along. On the way to the city, Roxy decides she needs a fake name and tells him to call her Lexi. Fate goes with it, but Greed, being the world's most annoying sidekick, starts teasing them like a nosy little brother. Fate mutters, "Shut up," at his sword. But Roxy thinks he's talking to her and immediately apologizes for being annoying. Fate has to scramble like, No, not you, I swear." Talk about awkward first date energy. Their inspection tour continues, and Roxy asks to see his sword. Fate almost has a panic attack, worried she'll figure out his whole secret identity, but luckily she doesn't notice anything. Crisis averted. They stroll into the marketplace, grab some grapes, and Roxy accidentally brags that they were grown at her estate. The vendor gives her the world's most suspicious side-eye, but Fate swoops in to cover for her, smooth as butter. Just when things calm down, a Holy Knight shows up. Of course, this is exactly when Fate's stomach growls like a wild beast. The knight jumps at the chance to intimidate him, but Roxy slips into roleplay mode, pretending they're a couple. She scolds Fate for skipping her breakfast and apologizes on his behalf. To sell it, she even links arms with him, Roxy internally screaming over how thrilling it feels. Fate, unfortunately, hears that thought with his mind reading and pulls away like an awkward teenager. Next, they pass by a vendor selling lucky stones that might have gems hidden inside. Fate cheats with his appraisal skill and calls it a dud, so Roxy returns it. Then she overhears townsfolk talking about a monster attack and asks for details. They point her to a warrior, so Fate takes her to his old haunt, the bar. Inside, Old Ad and the owner spill that the goblin deaths were probably the work of a monster. Some drunk warriors try hitting on Roxy, but she puts them in their place so hard they immediately realize she's a Holy Knight. Whoops. On their way out, they run into the Vlariks bullying some poor kid. Roxy steps in like a hero, frees the boy, and treats him to food. They plan to let him stay over, but his mom shows up just in time. Afterward, Fate can't shake the worry that Roxy might catch him sneaking out as his masked monster hunting alter ego. So the next day, he buys himself a mask to play it safe, and, in a softer move, gifts Roxy a gem she liked from the market. So Fate's out doing his secret monster slaying thing when a group of warriors stumble upon him standing tall over a literal mountain of goblin corpses. They freak out, slap him with the edgy nickname Corpse, and sprint sprint away like they just saw a ghost. Fate, meanwhile, is like, cool, new name unlocked. Back at the Hart estate, Roxy shows up, asking Fate to join her on a hush-hush mission. Where to? The family vineyards. Sounds chill, right? Except not really, because the first thing that happens is Roxy's mom casually asking Fate if he likes her daughter. Caught off guard, Fate blurts out that he cares about Roxy a lot, which instantly short-circuits her. She goes beet red, bolts to her room, and has a little anime girl meltdown. Being back in her room stirs memories of her dad, the reason she became a holy knight in the first place, before she pulls herself together and heads back out. Later, Roxy and Fate help harvest grapes. One of the workers explains that every harvest season, monsters show up to ruin everything, and it's Roxy's job to defend the vineyard. That night, Fate spots a creepy girl with glowing red eyes. Weirdly, his appraisal skill doesn't work on her, which is basically Fate's worst nightmare. She drops the line, "Leave the kobolds to you," and dips. Roxy arrives just in time to say the girl's name, Gallia, and reassure Fate she's got the situation handled. The next morning, though, the vineyard was completely trashed. Roxy, Fate, and some warriors track the monsters and spot a huge kobold lurking nearby, rocking a level 50 status. Fate's stomach growls like a demon, and he realizes he can't just sit around. Later that night, he sneaks off to thin the herd. He switches greed into bow mode, snipes a few kobolds, and even goes full hack and slash with his sword. But when he tries shooting the big boss, the beast just catches the arrows with its bare hands. It then yeets Fate across the battlefield with a punch. Playing dead, Fate gets a cheap shot in, but it's still not enough. That's when greed tempts him with a deal. Hand over 10% of his stats to unlock his first true skill. Fate agrees, and greed morphs into a beastly weapon that blows right through the kobold and leaves behind a giant smoking crater. Victory, but with a side effect, Fate almost keels over from the power surge. By morning, the warriors arrive, stunned to find all the kobolds dead and the land looking like a meteor hit it. Roxy suspects Gallia was behind it, but at least the vineyard is safe. Before they leave, Roxy's mom asks Fate to keep standing by her daughter's side. Back in the capital, Fate realizes goblins won't cut it for his hunger anymore. To make things worse, he overhears that Hado is joining the hunt for Corpse, and Roxy's been assigned to the dangerous Gallian expedition. Fate begs her not to go, but she's already set on her path. Meanwhile, the slimy Vlerics are busy celebrating what they think is their perfect chance to crush the Hart family once and for all. Fate finally gets his showdown with Hado, and let's just say, it's not even close. Hado sends his warriors charging in first, but Fate casually wipes the floor with them like he's swatting flies. The survivors? They take one look at him and nuke the scene in record time. That leaves Hado standing there, sweating bullets, ready to throw down. Fate reveals his face, shocked, leaving Hado stunned. But instead of freezing, Hado busts out his holy sword attack, which Fate just sidesteps like he's dodging a slow frisbee. After checking in with his snarky sword buddy, Greed, Fate slices right through Hado's weapon like it's cheap plastic. Then, with all the fury of someone tired of Hado's nonsense, Fate slams him into tree after tree like he's auditioning for WWE. Finally, Fate powers up a special attack and blows Hado apart, leaving only a mangled body. When Fate demands info about Roxy's mission, Hado suddenly starts bargaining for his life, promising to cancel the expedition. Too late, buddy. Fate drives his sword right through his chest and ends him without a second thought. Meanwhile, Roxy's busy prepping for her big journey to Gallia. She promises to return in 3 years, and Fate, no longer the quiet butler boy at the Hart House, decides it's time to carve his own path as a warrior. Before he leaves, Haru hands him his wages, plus a little severance bonus. Pretty wholesome, considering Fate's basically a walking mystery at this point. Roxy rallies her troops for Gallia, meets her fellow warriors Miria and Mugan, and delivers her classic nightly pep talk. Meanwhile, in the background, Renee is poking around the corpses left by Corpse and realizes those aren't ordinary arrow wounds. They're magical, caused by the Black Sword itself. The researchers are starting to piece together just how broken Greed's powers really are. Cut to Fate's travels, he rolls into Tetra City, hoping to hitch a ride to Gallia, but is told to check back tomorrow. With time to kill, he does what any adventurer does: research and food. Except dinner turns into a drama fest. In the restaurant, a desperate man begs some warriors to help with his village's monster problem. Instead of helping, they bully him. Big mistake. Fate steps in, puts the bullies in their place, and then realizes the man is Set. Yeah, that's Set, the same guy who used to bully him back in his village days. Cue the awkward flashbacks of Set's dad booting Fate from the village after Fate's own father died. Awkward reunion vibes aside, Set begs him for help, and Fate reluctantly agrees. When they reach the village, though, Set's father greets Fate with nothing but hostility. The man actually suggests sacrificing his own son to the monsters to stall for time. What a dad, right? Thankfully, Set's changed his ways. Fatherhood mellowed him out, and he shuts his old man down, inviting Fate into his home. Over dinner, Fate meets Set's adorable daughter, who offers him candy and instantly wins him over. For a moment, Fate gets a rare taste of warmth and family, but that moment doesn't last. He suddenly collapses at the table. Alarmed Set asks if he ate something weird, and the daughter innocently reveals she gave him candy from her grandpa. Yup, the same grandpa who wanted him sacrificed. Fate realizes this guy wasn't joking around. He literally poisoned him as part of his offer to the monsters plan.
That's the end of the recap. Let us know if you want part 2 by leaving a comment in the comment section down below. Also, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel to avoid being virgin forever. See you guys in the next video.